Welcome to the SharkPod, the podcast that explores business and lifestyle design in Ireland and beyond. And now, live from Greystone Studios, here are your hosts, Luke Curry and Mark Baker.
What is up, Shark Nation? I don't know if we're going to do that every time, but
I wasn't expecting that the first time.
Yeah,
to let you know.
with your face is absolutely hilarious when I do that. The last time you can't believe that this is happening. What have you signed up for? But you're very welcome here to the podcast. This is the as Mark said, maybe the tricky second album. We were all very excited about the first podcast. We're still excited. We just want to make sure that we're giving you guys the best content possible. So Mark, how are you doing?
Good. A quiet enough week, which is probably the only week of the year that's going to be quiet for any of us.
Yeah.
But, it's nice. I think it's important to kind of sometimes to do nothing, switch off, recharge the batteries.
Absolutely.
So, but in saying that, we've probably got it quite a lot done.
Yeah, we launched. One of the biggest things of the week was that we actually got this podcast up and running. We're going to do this, record it every Saturday, release it every Wednesday. We're kind of doing a couple back to back right now, so it's only been a few days since our last chat, which is okay. But like we said, we were going to do the news segment, and we're like, well, we've kind of just done the podcast stuff. But that's been great. We've set up our YouTube channel. We've actually got our first one ready and uploaded, and all the editing learnings that came with it. I've been really trying to learn as much as I can as a video editor. It really got me thinking as well. I think I mentioned to you maybe the last time or maybe off camera, but I just wish I was learning stuff like this when I was 17, 18, that I got into some sort of niche where it's a valuable skill. Like I spent probably 10 hours altogether over 2 days trying to perfect the video, bring all the audio in, all that type of stuff. So what I mean is, if I could pay somebody to do that, I would have, and I know, but I wanted to learn it this time as well.
But if you're thinking then there's a business there. Do you know what I mean? In 2020, that wasn't there. Probably it was there last year, but maybe it wasn't there the year before that. Anytime you're feeling like you would love someone else to do it.
Can somebody else do it?
Yeah, as Homer would say.
Yeah.
But there's probably a business there, and I think we talked about that yesterday. There probably is setting up podcasts for people, editing, stuff like that. It probably is somebody out there doing that right now, but it's a valuable kind of business.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it makes me think as well, how many people out there, so we're a couple of guys, very, normal guys. There's nothing, we're not particularly I don't know, like we've not stage trained or anything. We have no background in entertainment.
Yeah.
But listening back to the first podcast, I think it was a good representation of ourselves and gave a good view of what we think about different aspects of business and lifestyle design. Sharks, stuff like that.
T-shirt says.
SharkPod. Okay, cool. So I think imagine the amount of talent that's out there in Ireland and anywhere else, where there's way more talented people than us, funnier people who don't have podcasts, and why not? There's,
what I was thinking? I was thinking this morning that wouldn't it be great for a podcast, like a real Dublin podcast, but you just have on like legends from the different boroughs, just people who
local heroes, like
who just tell great stories, but probably
coming up.
Probably don't even have laptops. They probably don't even have
100%
social media. But everybody knows who they are. They exist in real life, but they don't exist online. But they tell great stories. They're funnier than most comedians.
We all know people like that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's such a good idea. I think we could definitely have a segment on that.
Or somebody else out there wants to run with that.
Run with it. I want to hear that.
I'd listen to that.
Yeah, 100%. Just it's kind of like the Instagram Faces of New York thing.
Kind of, yeah.
I know that's not exactly the same, but kind of that bringing the real people in to that. And I was.
It wouldn't be PG. That's the problem. You never know what they might.
Yeah, and when I was putting our last video up on the interwebs, one of the biggest things was that you had to pick whether it's going to be family friendly or not. So I said this probably wasn't for kids, but not that we're get a little bit blue up in this this.
Apart from the background.
Yeah, but there's a lot of blue around here. You know what I mean? We're not going to get crazy. But I think that's a really good idea. When I started to learn the Irish about a year ago, I was looking on things on YouTube, all that type of stuff. There wasn't that much material actually out there. If you want to learn Spanish, you can learn Spanish. A billion people speak it or whatever, but it's really easy to learn those types of things. But I came across a video of the last unilingual Irish person that they have on tape. Excuse me. I think it was in the 70s or something like that. It was a guy out there in Mayo. He's been living on an island, really isolated. His job was a storyteller, so he couldn't read or write. He had learned these stories from old storytellers around the parish, he only spoke Irish. And there was a guy recording because he was old and he was going to die. So there was a guy from UCD who was an Irish speaker who was just making sure he was interviewing him as much as possible, because he doesn't read or write or anything. If once he's gone, he's gone. And I think that's kind of hits on what your idea is there, where all of that information and all the real gold content, those people aren't creating content. That's gone when they go, it's over. So I think that was a treasure that I found on YouTube. Do you know what I mean? And even there was a clip of the clip where a BBC English guy is there as well, interviewing the two of them.
I think I might have seen that.
Yeah, and it's just like, he's like, this is bizarre, and it is bizarre.
I did see that. But
definitely worth capturing. So that's great content, Mark. Any other ideas like that? Let me know. Okay, cool. So today I'm gonna be in the hot seat this time. I kind of turned the camera a little bit on my brother-in-law on the last episode. We talked about Mark quite a lot. Really dug into his background. I think it was great content as well. I think a lot of people out there are really interested, will be interested in that the story that you have, where it's not just a straightforward story. You've got your art talent that we see behind you in Bono's wing there, but it's a rocky road. Not a rocky road, but a winding road, let's say, to get where you got today. So it's good to kind of show that as well. Sometimes when you're in school and you're looking at successful people, or people who have their own businesses, or people who are drawing things for the White House or whatever, and you think, well, how do I bridge the gap to that? I'll never be able to do it. But you kind of give them,
or that's the only option. Like you're an artist,
put you in a box.
You're an accountant.
Yeah.
I probably proved that the complete polar opposites, that you can actually be complete polar opposites. Never mind an artist and who exhibits in galleries, and a graphic designer, or someone who does marketing. You can be an accountant or an artist. You know what I mean? You don't have to, especially in 2020.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of what we have talked about before, kind of off air, with the guy, I always forget his name, the guy who did Dilbert. Do you ever remember his name?
I can't remember his name.
Anyway, he's been on lots of podcasts that I've listened to, and he's always saying that the most valuable people are the people who are quite good at different skills.
Yeah.
Rather than just one skill. If you're the best artist in the world, but you can't do marketing, guess what? You're going to eat beans for the rest of your life. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. But if you want to be the best, like one of my friends, shout out Shay McLaughlin if you're listening, talk about your local heroes. He just started his own business a little while ago as a mechanic. Might get him on it for an interview. That might be good, because
definitely.
We used to sip cider and mats, and back when we were 15 or whatever, and he used to talk about having his own mechanic business back then.
Really? Yeah.
So it's nice to see that come full circle. But my point is, you can be the best mechanic in the world, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to run a business, market it, set it up, get the loans, do all the paperwork. No one wants to do that, right? So if you're unable to do that, you're not going to be able to make the cut. So
you can teach yourself anything today, and that's one of the key takeaways from one of the reasons that we're doing this. Is like YouTube is the great equalizer, as is Google. You don't have to go to podcasting school for a year in Bray or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can actually just learn it in 7 days.
As we're seeing right now, I don't know if you can learn it very well, but you can learn it. All the sharks out there.
You mentioned like being quite good at a lot of different things. I would say be excellent at a few different things.
Holler.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, why not?
Why not? There's enough hours in the day.
So many
That's
hours.
the only thing holding you back. You know, sometimes you think like, what do some people be doing all day?
We had this conversation yesterday.
Yeah.
Me and Mark we got up early to climb a mountain real quick in Wicklow here. He brought the kids.
Can climb hills.
Got our little fins out there, and we got a few scratches. But
yeah, about that, I thought that trail for the Sugarloaf would be a lot easier, as in like the terrain.
Yeah.
And me being me, I was thinking they should come in here with some sort of little truck, you know.
Yeah.
Some sort of rover thing, get in and clear out all that rubble, and it'd be way easier to get to the top.
Yeah, you could do it.
Says a man who's done it once and expects the whole thing to change for him.
Yeah.
I'm unreasonable like that.
It's just unreasonable. Just wants the world to bend to his needs. It's like why don't we just fucking tarmac the whole place? Like, it's not all about you and your fancy runners that you didn't want to get, scratched up. No. But I did bring, there was a big difference with me with my boots as well, I think.
Yeah.
I kind of cheated out. Earlier this year, me and my wife climbed Kilimanjaro. So we had those big, boots in the car that I always keep, in the boot. My boots in the boot. Now that I live in the countryside, so they come in handy. But it makes a big difference when you're on those types of trails. And they have done that. I know we're getting super local here, but up in Glendalough, they've put down just kind of like wood paneling or. Like made a wooden trail type. They put down sleepers, from like a railway thing. Yeah. Around the whole Spink walk. It's like 4 hours, and it's really good. It does make a difference. It makes you more willing to go do stuff. I know the Sugarloaf. I know it's because we were with your 2 little girls as well. Like I think you'd be well able for it.
Yeah, I noticed I was trying to drag two kids up, and you were walking behind with your hands in your pockets.
Yeah,
just strolling along
like a calm billy goat. No.
Anyway, we went off topic there.
But
it was hours in the day. Obviously, there's lots of hours in the day.
That's what we were talking about. We were saying, okay, if some people are saying they don't have enough time. We started a podcast over the break. You've done painting. We built the studio. Basically learned how to run audio video from scratch, which I'm learning. And like you said, the YouTube is an incredible resource. It's, you called it the great equalizer. It really is. There's some guy called Chris who is online.
You feel now?
I feel like I've spent a lot of time, me and Chris, and he's telling me how to use the DaVinci Resolve, which is the video software that I'm using. If anyone has any better alternatives, maybe reach out to Luke at shark.ie, because that shit is hard. Really? Right? Yeah. It's it's all right. Like, but I've got the hang of it now. But there's a lot of different features and different things that you have to learn. It's not intuitive. It's built for professionals, or at least semi-professionals. So there's a lot to learn there. And if you don't have like a teacher, basically a one-on-one teacher, it would be impossible to use. So Chris on YouTube has spent, looks like his lifetime building these incredible videos about how to do absolutely everything.
What's his channel called? Give him a shout out.
I will link that in the show notes. I can't remember his name or his channel, but I'm sure I'll be using it later on to fix something that I'll break later on today. Okay. So what else we're going to talk about? We've got a few things we want to talk about today. Like I said, I'll be in the hot seat. Before that, the week in review. There's a few things that happened this week that really got me thinking. Right. And when I brought this up, Mark thought this was a bit of a touchy subject, but we're gonna have a chat about trying to put a positive spin on everything, right? So we talked about last week where people were worried about Brexit and worried about stuff like that, those big external things, right? And I think you mentioned it's kind of human nature to see the danger first, rather than seeing the opportunity, right? And now that we're living in this Ireland 2020, things are really different, right? When I was growing up, and we talked about this briefly before we started the podcast today. When I was growing up, everybody wanted to leave. Everybody had a plan. It was kind of the romantic thing. We've listened to the songs, you know, and I've been somebody who lived away, and it is nice to be an immigrant for a while in a different country, being the Irish man abroad, the caffeine and the sad songs and everything. It is really fun to have that kind of experience. The people that you meet when you're away, you have this bond with them.
Become more Irish.
You become way more Irish, right, than you are when you're here.
I get that in Spain for a week.
When Mark is in Santa Ponza, he is pining to see the Liffey. Sweet Anna Liffey. He's looking forward to getting back on the streets. But you know, but if you're away for, like, I was away for, at one stage it was over a year that I hadn't come back to Ireland. So you really get to feel that. But when I was growing up, we were playing football on the streets, playing it really badly. I actually wondered that. We played football so much. Why were we so crap? Like,
Speak for yourself.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Mark was
average.
Yeah, Mark was the goalkeeper of choice for a while for Joey's
boys. Yeah.
and Sally Noggin. Yeah, so fair play to you for that. But my point is, when we were growing up, everyone had a plan, right? For me, it was to get to California, right? And I wonder,
what were you gonna do when you got there?
What I was going to do, I was going to start my own business. That's what I always wanted to do. That was the goal. When I was a child, I thought that the only people who had I thought it was just abject poverty or people who had their own business who were millionaires.
American dream.
The American dream. I was bought into that in a big way.
Yeah.
I used to sit around watching the OC with, Julie Cooper Nickel, all the crew there, living in California, big houses, big beach fronts, everything just big. And I was living in Sallynoggin, going to St. Kevin's primary school. The world seemed really small where I was, right? And I don't want to step on the toes of Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I felt if you read his book where he's back in Austria and he's looking to America for opportunity, looking to America.
Are you comparing yourself to Arnold Schwarzenegger again?
No, we both have funny accents. Okay, we both have a gap in our teeth.
That's where it ends.
That's where. I've never been elected to public office. I've never made a video, but you know what?
You don't have a housekeeper.
I don't have a housekeeper, Katie. No, my wife's out there. So my point is, we all had a plan about getting out, right? Well, some of my friends wanted to go to Australia because they wanted to have that kind of Bondi, kind of beach bum life, right? A few people wanted to go to Canada. At the time, I didn't want to go to Canada because I had been there. I was 7. You know, I left Canada when I was 7. I knew all about it. That's what I thought. And then I ended up back living there for a couple of years. So, did you have that when you were in so for people that don't know, you grew up in Shankill in Dublin, working class, middle class, maybe lower middle class, working class, we'll say, area, right?
Yeah.
And I always have this debate with my wife about working class. I say if I get up when the alarm goes off, I'm going to work. I'm a working class person. But we can debate that another time. My point is, in your area, were people also thinking about leaving?
Depends what year. You know, I definitely felt as a kid that Ireland was old-fashioned. Always thought it. Still think it.
Yeah.
You know, I always felt, even some of the houses, if you look around Dunleary or my nanny's house in Monkstown, it was very old-fashioned. A lot of religious iconography on the walls and stuff like that.
Sacred Heart.
Like, it felt, I knew at the time, where it probably was of the time in the 80s and early 90s, that, you know, I felt that was old-fashioned. I felt it was backwards. I felt it was boring. But it probably was of the time. But even then I knew. So I've always kind of been more forward-thinking. I'm always into tech, what the next kind of thing is. And yeah, America was the obvious route. I'm trying to think. No, I never wanted to kind of leave. I thought there was enough there was always that kind of opportunity in Ireland as well. I felt a bit old fashioned, but like it got to a point at one stage where, with the boom in full flow.
I suppose I always forget you're 5 years older than me.
Yeah.
So I was just before.
I just made it. I just made it in.
Yeah.
Put it that way. But also didn't have the benefit of the cheap housing and stuff like that. But
yeah.
I kind of. It wasn't a bad era to be born in, I suppose.
Yeah.
You know, you could have got lucky. You could have got unlucky with jobs. You know, some of my friends who did engineering had to go. My friend Andy O'Connor had to go to London for years and worked on the Olympics. You know, he couldn't stay here, but I kind of got into accounting right on the edge. But so I never had that kind of F this, I'm leaving, you know. And me and Kim were together since we're 17, so you know, that would have had to be in a discussion with her. I wasn't able to just disappear for a few years, you know.
And you were, like I said, just kind of made it in that way, and you maybe didn't have your generation. I know your generation is really squeezed right now from a housing point of view, right? A lot of people living at home, a lot of people living, you know, find it difficult to get mortgages, especially if they, with the income that like admin jobs like are going to be giving you, or even kind of middle management sometimes, you know, how they're going to get a mortgage, I don't know. But the like maybe the rage at the country that my generation felt when we were like, when I left college, it was nothing going on. Really, it was, and people were really angry. Everyone was leaving.
I never felt that. So it's weird, isn't it? Like we're not that far apart in age, but there wasn't there for me. It probably might have been there for some others, maybe. But it kind of came quite quickly to, if you think back to the last episode, I was saying like, it knocked the art out as an option for me quite quick, but I quickly kind of moved what's next, and it was accounting, and I got in. I moved fast, but if you're anyway kind of lackadaisy about it, you know, you would have got, and not everybody is as kind of active as the likes of me, you, or a lot of the listeners, you know, sharks, you know, a lot of people are, you know, let's just say, you know, average mentality, and that's nothing wrong with that, you know. You can get left behind a bit like that, you know. You can miss the boat, and then the boat, once you shouldn't have to be always on looking around, you know, trying to survive. You know, so I do feel sorry for people, and that's why you see people in really bad situations, because they missed the boat. But that shouldn't be the way. You should be more comfortable than that, you know. Do you know what? I'm going to get, not controversial, but I'm going to get maybe put a sharky spin on this. When I left college, I was there for 5 years, did the masters, all that type of stuff, did exactly what I was supposed to do. When I left, and there was no jobs there. Actually, I was only unemployed for a month or so. So I graduated in August, started working in an investment bank in October. So I was not one of the bad cases at all, right? So, but the whole thing was my fault. Right? That's how you felt. That's what I felt. I felt that I let myself down by taking that time off. I was always like working out, like I said last time, I was working in like Texaco, and I did loads of different jobs while I was in college, and I always had an income. But I'd fallen into the trap of a lot of Irish people fall into, and it really is a trap, the qualifications trap. I've got this piece of paper, you give me the money. That's not how the equation actually works. You make money for people, and they'll give you a portion of it. That's the actual equation. You're only add value, get value. So they're going to, and if you're going to work for other people, they're going to keep most of the value, because that's how business works. Because they're taking the risk. They're taking the risks. They have overheads that you don't have. They're going to take the lion's share. But if you fall into a trap, and it's so many young people out there, they go into the CSO, is that what it's called? CEO. Yeah, that's not the Central Statistics Office. They don't go there. They go into the CAO, is it? CAO, yes. CAO, yeah. CEO. So in Ireland, that's where you choose what you're going to do with the rest of your life. Basically, when you're 18, they give you a form to fill out, and they say, okay, which college course do you want to do? All the type of stuff. You put down your preferences, okay? You get a week to think about it, basically. Yeah, exactly. And you'll have maybe an inadequate guidance counselor with huge shoulders, as I remember. Do you remember? I can't remember his name. Big square head. But he had a square head, square jaw. He looked like a bit Spartacus, a little bit.
A little bit like Kurt Douglas. If you're out there, reach out to Luke at shark.ie, because we'd love to have you on to see, what was going on back then. Maybe you saw the crash coming. You're like, you guys are all, shagged in here.
I remember he told I think it was Andy, who I mentioned, who went on to become an engineer, that he might be, thinking too ambitiously about wanting to do engineering. Quite high points for that.
Okay.
Anyway, he proved him wrong.
Yeah, and it was high at that point. It was high points, but it was achievable for
450 or something.
And he's a bright guy.
That was probably the best in school. In fairness for Cantini.
Yeah.
But he didn't even know him. Anyway.
Yeah, like it was. Yeah, but my point is, you fall into that trap of when it's so easy to do as well, because it takes the brain power out of the decision for you.
Yeah.
So, okay, all I got to do is I go to college, I'll just do these essays, or it doesn't have to be college, it could be anything. I knew lots of people who are doing courses. Oh, if I get people who have that course get that money. They don't actually. It's people who deliver value. So if I was like, hopefully one day I'll be raising my own kids, right? And that's what I'm going to try to teach them. Maybe not when they're toddlers, but like, when they're teenagers, saying you're only going to get money if you produce value. Yeah. That's the only way. Yeah. That people don't care. There's people with master's degrees that are unemployed. That's a big thing now in Ireland.
Yeah.
You're
got a PhD.
Yeah, you're a recruiter. You see these kind of PhD guys. Yeah. Do you know the work you have to put in to get a PhD? When I was doing my master's, I used to get there at 8:00 in the morning, and the reading that you have to do is incredible. And there's lots of good things that came out of my time at Smurfit Business School.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to go. It gave me a few kind of contacts, all that type of stuff. Built my network for sure. All right.
Yeah.
But the actual work was so difficult and so time consuming that I would be there till 8:00 every day. I'm putting in 12 hours days for free, for no money.
Yeah.
And no guarantee of money.
So if you measure the input versus the output, what else in life is like that? You have to put 12 hours a day every day to get a good, good. Obviously, you get the qualification, that good network. When you put a value on the output, it's mad hours that you put in. Really,
mad hours,
it's
and
inefficient use of energy and time.
100%. And I could have been Chris, that guy on YouTube making bank off those instructional videos for Da Vinci or anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
12 hours a day. 12 hours a day, you could almost do anything with an online business. That's an incredible amount of time.
Yeah.
And it was so, I remember just like, I had so much work to cover, so much reading to do, that I had to make a rule that I wasn't allowed to talk to anybody. And that's very difficult for me, Mark. I don't know. I don't know if you noticed this. Love talking. That's why I started this podcast, so people would fucking talk to me, right?
Get people in a room for
an
hour.
Get people in a room. Lock the door over there.
We used to have these chats when you lived at home, and I was staying over in the 10 p.m. to
deep into the night as well.
Kim shouting down.
Yeah.
What are you doing with my brother down there?
Yeah, really strange stuff. Why would you want to hang out and talk for 4 hours?
For coming up with business ideas we're not going to follow through on, Kim.
Yeah, that's my specialty. But what was I saying? So
it was, did I ever think of leaving?
Yeah.
Not really. Really. Did I want to spend a lot of time anywhere else? Yeah, the States.
The States, it gets me going. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, yeah. Even thinking this year, everybody thinks in January, where are you going on holidays? We're like looking all around different places, and I keep going back to the States because there's so much there.
It's it's huge. They've got everything there. They've got tropical. They've got like that kind of Mexican-y feel, and I want to go to Texas one day. I'd love to do like a southern states tour, like in a RV. I don't know what it is. Maybe because it's all the culture. It's all the, when I say culture, it's a big part of pop culture. It comes from America, obviously.
Well, it's been fed to us. So, we haven't looked at a lot of different cultures because it wasn't on the TV. Yeah. That's why we know so much about everybody else. Yeah. And they don't know as much about Ireland.
Always shocking to me.
And that's quite a good strength to have for Irish people. We know a lot about other cultures, particularly the UK and America. Yeah. Because we've been watching them since we're born. That's a weird thing. That's probably something that not a lot of other countries have. Maybe a lot of other countries have it with the States, and you see that in Asia, a lot of Americanized stuff. But that's a good string to your bow if you want to go over to America,
blend in,
infiltrate, or start a business or become the best salesman. I always think, geez, I could, if Irish people could run rings around some people.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't know. That's just from being on holidays. I think.
But think about it though. It's a superpower. If you can blend into, and I know I was particularly good at blending in Canada because I'd lived there for 7 years as a child.
Yeah.
I've got family over there still.
Yeah.
I've got the branch of the Currys over there.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of connections to Canada. I can fit in. I can even do the accent if I wanted to. Right. Yeah. So when I went over there, you can even
pretend to people over here that you went to college over there.
I could do that. Skipping the queue. That's another podcast title. When me and Mark, bent the truth to get by. But
yeah. So
my
I
point is,
you asked me, well then you and to put it back on you. You did feel that way, and then you acted on it.
Yeah.
You went.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe we'll go into the next section where we're going to put me in the hot seat, maybe, and say where we're.
Yeah. Okay.
Where we're going, because we are moving on. We like to chat around here in the SharkPod. But okay, cool. So, So one of the big with the kind of ties into everything we're saying today. It's kind of we're talking about the past. We're talking about the bust that happened in Ireland a few years ago, and how it seems like it never happened now. How people forget so quickly.
Yeah, and cyclical. Everything is cyclical. Yeah.
It's cyclical. It just feels like it would never end. It's always the way, right? You never think you're going to get the bill. Have you ever been out at a dinner with friends, and then you get the bill and you're looking at it and go, I don't know, is this what we ate?
We're having such a good time.
Yeah. And then the bill comes. So the bill will come for this period as well. There's no way things can go on forever. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
It's been going. It's the longest bull market in history.
Yeah.
It's gonna come to an end, right?
I would say, in my advice is enjoy yourself, but just keep listening to David McWilliams.
Yeah, listen to him. He seems to be on the ball with those types of things. He's got a podcast now, which is great. Me and Mark are big fans. Holler at the guys if they want to come on to the SharkPod. They're very welcome as usual. But yeah, so when I was in secondary school, this is funny because you knew me as a child, right?
Man child, you were 6 foot probably.
Yeah, I was 14 stone. But I mean, in the mind, I was a child, right? Yeah. So I was in first year. So people that are listening outside of Ireland, that is 11, or no, maybe 12.
12, I'd say, yeah.
12, 13 in first year. Yeah, I was 12, turned 13 in first year. And you were in 6th year, so you were kind of the last year before leaving.
Yeah.
So you were kind of the big guys around there. Yeah. Although we were looking at each other in the face. But I mean, but technically you're the seniors there. So when I was growing up there, I saw you going to college, going to university as well. I always, even though I came from maybe what some people might call disadvantage, not really disadvantaged, but just not a really well-off family to grow up in, right? So when I was leaving school, but I always thought I'd going to go to college. I always thought I was going to be successful. My mother was always pushing me, saying I could do whatever I want. And actually, not only that I can do whatever I want, but I should do certain things.
Yeah, my mother said the same to me. Yeah.
Like, I think that's a great thing to instill in your kids, and I think that it gives you that type of expectation on yourself. It's a big part of that, right? So I have friends, or I had friends in secondary school that had no expectations coming from home, and it makes a big difference. Yeah. And my mother wanted me to become a solicitor, right? And I remember actually I said it to your man with the square shoulders when I was in 4th year. I said, listen, I want to go to law school, I didn't know really what law. I was asking him how to do it, that's his job. And then again, he said, I just don't think that's for you. Really, yeah. And I was like, why is that? And he might have had a point. And he said, okay, you need to be reading all the time, and it's a lot of book work. And I like reading, but I don't like reading if it's going to be all day every day. That's why, although after I did the masters, that's what I did. But so that kind of put me off doing that. Yeah. And then when I saw you were going through college, I suppose you were probably in your art pomp.
Yeah.
When I was leaving
long
school,
hair. I used to have long hair.
Long hair. long flowing hair,
Yeah.
tight jeans. Like, I remember Mark, his legs got bigger, so he was busting out of those jeans. So he had to get a new wardrobe. So actually, yeah, and Mark, we started lifting weights together when I was like 16 as well. Anyway, so the timeline. So basically, when I was in college, in secondary school, like I mentioned in the first podcast, I was kind of slipping into the low expectations that were around me. Right, the government didn't think that I was, because no one had gone to college in my family before. The government thought that I wasn't going to get there unless I got a little bit of help. Yeah. So I started to take the help, and I said, okay, if you guys want to make sure I get in, I'm not going to work hard.
I'll meet you in the middle.
I'll stop going to school and just go over to my friends' PlayStation. I remember the time around that being a very difficult time, just because I didn't know what I really wanted to do. I kind of knew I wanted to work for myself, or I wanted to be in business and stuff like that. And being in business is all about sales, right? So someone should have told me that, right?
Yeah.
But what happened was I got sucked into the only people who are successful are the people that go to university and all that type of stuff, right? So I went, and I found that it was really easy in college to get by. I could not go to class. I could, just go out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all that type of stuff, right? And it really wasn't a stretch to do well in college.
Yeah.
So
that's why it's popular in a way.
Yeah,
that's dial it in.
That's my point. So there was years there where I could have been getting better. I could have been learning skills. I could have been coming up with a way of making independent income. And I did try some stuff along the way. Yeah. God knows I tried a few things along the way.
I don't know if anybody still has their iPhone that Luke might have sold them.
So e-commerce was just hitting the. It was just being really, eBay was just a new thing. It was a cowboy country back then. Yeah. So I was in my first year in college, and I wanted to make some money on the side. So I found a Chinese website, and I didn't have that much money because I was working. I can't remember where I was working, somewhere part time. I didn't have loads of money, and
that website was probably a precursor to Alibaba, was it?
100%.
So Alibaba, I don't know what it IPO'd for, but it was that's the biggest
billions.
IPO. Yeah,
crazy.
That one probably didn't exist maybe at the time.
If it existed, it wasn't a big thing.
Yeah,
this is a long time ago now. Yeah. This is probably 13, 14. Well, 13, 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And I basically found this online website. I was trying to get into drop shipping. I was trying to get into selling stuff online, try to make an income. And for the first things I sold were kind of like knockoff phones. Nokia was ruling the world at that stage, and I was selling those. I was selling an early version of the iPhone, all that type of stuff. So I mean, it really didn't last very long. I was selling those, so there was a lot of complaints, all that type of stuff. Like in the copy, it was saying that it's not an iPhone, right? Yeah. It wasn't, but it was maybe quite far down.
Yeah.
in the script, so that didn't really work that well. And then I started. Actually, this it kind of came full circle. Right now, I'm in the software business, and I think software is an amazing business to be in, because it doesn't matter what happens to technology. My skills are going to be needed, whatever the updates are, whatever the new software is that comes out. It's the same job. I would just have to sell something else, right?
Yeah.
So what I've done is I'm just putting myself in between the buyer and the product, and then they just have to buy it from me. I use my skills to bring in as much revenue as possible. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's a great business to be in. It's a great position to be in.
Well, the product is probably, the future. Do you know what I mean? It's certainly the opposite to something that a robot might take over, like software. Do you know what I mean? Like exactly. It's God knows where that's going.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You're on the right track with that. Yeah.
So when I was in college, I started to import Windows Office packages.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, do you remember that?
Yeah.
They're supposed to be only sold in Puerto Rico. Remember that was all in Spanish, but you could put it in English.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was real Del Boy stuff. But I remember I was buying them from China, but they had imported them from Puerto Rico, and I was selling them in the buy and sell, and I was making loads of money. I was buying them for like €13 each, and I was selling them for like 55. But I was selling them like regularly.
Really? Yeah.
And that was the first time I really had a business idea or something to sell that was like over a few months was coming good, right? So I made the investment. I remember I'd send them the money in like a money order or some shit. I can't remember. And when it arrived, I wanted to make as much money as possible, so I just sold it, and then I'd call them the next day to see if it worked. I didn't want to open it. Yeah. Because I wanted to make sure if I opened it, it's not worth anything.
Oh yeah, obviously.
You know what I mean? So just sell it.
Yeah. Well, you have to trust in the product to an extent.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so it all worked out. And then the guy who I was buying it from, I went out of business in China, so that just kind of...
Oh, is that what happened there?
That's just I stopped getting back to my emails and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was my first time actually selling software, and I saw what the markup can be in that type of industry. It's so good. It's such a good industry. But instead of keeping going with that, like we talked about this before, if I kept going with the online selling for the last 13 years, I'd be in an even bigger house.
Yeah.
Do you know? Like I'd be really well off, I think.
Yeah.
So there was a disconnect. I saw that it worked. I saw that I was the only person. I remember being in college telling people about that, and they're like, well, how do you make sure... I remember I said it to one of my friends, and he's like, I won't do his accent because people know who he is then. But he's like, but how does the money get into your wallet? Like, how do you get the money out of the computer? You know, that's how long ago this was. Like,
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Why do you think you didn't follow through with it then? Was it imposter syndrome? I got that with the art when somebody was willing to pay, I suppose, 1,000, let's say. Yeah. I was like, but this is just a blank white canvas that I put some paint on in a specific order.
Oh, so that was a weird first... I say it was great, but I say it was weird though.
You know.
Yeah.
So you soon get over it.
Yeah.
And you keep going, but there's a little bit more in that like you saw the blood, sweat and tears that went in, not literally, but you know, that went into making a painting. Like, it's actually quite hard work, at least. But any business that you're going to scale and you're going to make you a millionaire or whatever, like there is going to be an element of
making this up. Yeah.
All that is coming from, you know, a certain amount of input. You can't put in, if you're a billionaire, you haven't put in $1 billion worth of energy into your, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, something so many.
So was it a bit like panicky as a teenager to, oh Jesus, this money's coming in, I'm doing something wrong somewhere?
Yeah, I felt like I was going to get caught.
Yeah. What?
But I thought that it was, I felt, even though, like, I remember I got a letter from Microsoft because they saw that I was advertising it online.
Yeah.
And it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Because it was all real stuff, but I was a bit like, I was worried that that what I was doing was a scam thing, that I didn't have a license to sell this. You don't, like, if you own something, you can just sell it. Like, it does, you don't.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean? But I didn't know that at the time, and I wish I had just had someone I could go to with that, like some sort of mentor, or someone a little bit older who was doing that type of stuff, and go, "Is this all right?"
Yeah.
Because I was like, "Oh fuck!" I remember I got that letter. I don't think you would have been there. I was like, "Oh shit, fuck this!" Like,
I think I remember it. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is. Good to have somebody that can kind of give you the confidence, I suppose.
Yeah.
And experience, but you're supposed to learn from that and move on, as opposed to just happen and then panic and leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was that. So I actually I went on a lot of kind of like vacations and stuff like that. So I'd save up my new era money, which was the government.
I got a car with mine.
I used to save up my monthly kind of stipend from the government going to university, and I was working as well, which you were allowed to. But I used to save up that and then go on long holidays on the summertime and stuff like that. So, at one way of looking at this, it was a wonderful time in my life where I, spent a lot of time with friends, went on lots of trips, all that type of stuff. But on the other hand, there was always something gnawing at me the whole time I was in college, worried about what's going to happen next. What was I supposed to do next? Is this business degree? What is a business degree? That's the biggest thing that people do business degrees say. What can you do with that? and they do have a point. You're not being trained for a profession, right? You're not being trained with the expectation that you're going to be a massive success.
Yeah.
There's not really. It's just kind of like, well, this bit is accounting. This bit is. It is a bit random.
It's like yeah.
Right? So
well, with the education route, you're kind of, if you're part of it and you're hopping into it, it's like tracks are being laid in front of you.
Yeah.
And you're only allowed to see the next bit of track.
Yeah.
And then you get onto that and you do that and you're on that track, and then the next bit will be laid out in front of you. But then it comes to a kind of an end where the track ends, and now it's up to you to figure out.
Shark Nation, why are we obsessed with this track?
Because
we can build our own track. We don't need somebody
safe
to
on the track, you know.
But
the train has, air conditioning. But that's what it is. Again, it comes back to safety.
I'm not the only person who feels like this. This is something that's very, I think it's very Irish to say. We just want somebody else to almost write the book.
Yeah.
You're going to live, if you're going to be a solicitor, you're going to live in that book. This is the next chapter. The next chapter is to go work for 3 years in a soliciting firm. Yeah. To do your FE3s or I actually don't know what they're called. FE somethings. I don't know what they're called. But my point is, when I was in college, I remember being anxious about that the whole time. I still live in a home, which was great because I got to spend all the money on going out and having fun, stuff like that. But when I was coming to the last year, it was like the recession was really kicking in when I was in fourth year, which would have been 2009. Yeah. Ish. I think 2009, 2010, I think, something like that. Yeah. It was really starting to bite, and no one was getting graduate jobs. I remember 5 years before, everyone would have a graduate job coming out of college. It would be a decent wage, starting off. Now all bets were off. No one was doing anything, right? Yeah. I remember after college ended, so many people straight on the dole, straight away. So I was coming up to that, and I was having a chat with one of my lecturers who I really respected, who had done a lot in the music industry. Really, so he had such incredible stories. You're like, I don't know if this is real. Hanging out with Bruce Springsteen, not Biggie, but and he's like, if I were you, I'd go to Smurfit Business School. It's the top business school in Ireland, right? It's you're going to meet loads of people there, great teachers. They have the case method, which is, this is the way every college course should be taught. There's a business case, like a case study. You read it at home, and then you come in and you talk in the round about it. And you're learning from all the people who have experience in different industries. It's really, really good. But when we went there, the level of academia that I had to go to from my college to that was a huge jump. I remember the first few months were really, really tough. Bad for my confidence. I went from being the top of my class to probably near the bottom overnight. And it was really difficult for me. I didn't know what, after the first couple of months, I also had to run around and try to get a loan. I couldn't get a education loan at that stage. That's how the banks were so. Oh, okay, yeah. Because I had no guarantor, right? And I was too proud to ask anyone to help me with that, right? So I got. It was such a tiny loan as well. I'm not gonna say how much it was, but it was so low that nowadays people would laugh at you. But I just didn't have the money, so I just had to go get it somewhere. But my point is, I remember going in there and I had to do a maths class on probability. And I remember we had a whiteboard in my room, and you were trying to help me with it. Yeah. And as I said, you're good at numbers. Or no, but you're an accountant. At least you've done higher maths and all that stuff, right?
Well, no, but
David, did you not?
Why do you want me to be good at maths?
I don't want you to be a numbers man. If you're not my numbers man, what am I going to do? I don't know. For the people listening at home, I've got 3 brother-in-laws, and they're all accountants. Isn't that weird?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, but I mean, some of them are good at numbers. We're not going to say which ones. But anyway, my point is, okay, so everyone, you mentioned the milk round the last time. Yeah. And the same thing happened in Smurfit. They all came in, and we went around, and it was all accounting, consulting, all that type of stuff. But there was still scarcity of jobs for graduates, really, really competitive. I went to interviews all year that year and didn't actually get anything solid except for audit in Ernst & Young.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd done the interview there for consulting.
Yeah.
Right? And I went in there, and there was guys doing the interview that was so much more. I didn't even know what I still don't know what consultants really do, like in the UI.
It's a broad term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know what I was talking about in the interview.
Yeah.
So I didn't get that. But they called me back, and they're like, "We would like you, to come in to do audit, right?" And I remember I was in my room talking to the guy, and he's like, "Do you want to do this? It starts next September." And I was like, I never really thought that I'd be. I think I'd be a bad accountant. I said that to him.
Yeah.
I go, that's not really what I was looking for. I think I'm not going to be good at it.
It's again, it's that 3-year training ground type of thing, and that's what you're being sold. And I suppose it is good in a way, but it's not for everybody. Yeah. It's certainly not for everybody. And there is a drop off rate when people go in and do that kind of 3-year. You'll find 10% might actually drop off in the first year and just say, right, it's not. And fair play to them,
100%. Get out when you can, like.
Yeah, when you realize.
So anyway, so he said to me, this is a very insidious thing, and I think that this is a point that people at home need to take into account. There's people out there who want to manipulate you a little bit, like, right? He said to me, things are bad out there right now. Why don't we put you down on the list anyway? And then you can confirm in August if you want to do it or not. Because I guess he was in recruiting as well. He's probably getting a bonus for how many people have agreed to this or something. I don't know what it was, but he was pushing for me to say, just put my name down, think about it. And I said, no, do not put me down for anything. I don't want to hear from you guys if it's not for consulting, because I didn't want to take the foot off the gas looking elsewhere. I didn't want that safety net. Yeah. Very easy to fall into, though. Yeah. I could have just said, I'll just go in and do this, like, right? But my point is there, I left Smurfit, the best like you could have got from a business course in Ireland. Like, it's a top course, strategic management and planning, like top end. Graduate, no job. All right, I've been to college for 5 years now. My confidence is so far down. It's at the lowest of my life. That month leaving college. Loads of people have jobs. Loads of people are going to England. Loads of people have like family connections in New York. They're going to work on Wall Street, all that type of stuff. And I'm sitting there. I remember me and a few other people who were just like still looking for jobs. I have a few interviews at this stage that are ongoing. But I remember sending out CVs. We all got together and we went to KFC up in Carrickmines. Yeah. And we got a bucket between us, and we were calling it the Dole bucket. I don't know why. We were just like, okay, let's get after this and get some chicken. But anyway, to make a long story short, I started working in an investment bank shortly after, which in one way was a great boost because it really gave me a start, and so I'm very grateful to the manager for taking a chance on me. He didn't have to. Because I didn't know anything about finance either. I worked there subsequently for a couple of years, and it allowed me to buy my first property. So loads of good things came out of that. Yeah. During that time, again, very unhappy, very frustrated, not moving forward in the career. I know it takes time, but when you started your job, or when you went into accounting, did you feel that you needed to start moving up straight away? Do you have that drive as well, where if you're doing the same thing for 2 years, you're like, what am I doing here? No, I knew with me it was a 3-year apprenticeship. That's what it is. An audit training. That's contract. The track. Yeah, that's, and that, and that's talked about, and the exams are part of that. So every year you do a set of exams to get you're not just an accountant straight away. Not a lot of people people who don't know accountancy think that you leave college after studying accountancy and become an accountant. You don't. You become a trainee accountant, just like a trainee electrician, and you do 3 years and you finish out your exams, which are probably the toughest things you could possibly do. Accounts exams, law exams, those types of things. And I had done my back in as well, so I was studying
lying down for mine anyway. But
You're trying to build out those genes. That's how he hurt his back. I remember that.
So, no, I knew it was going to be 3 years.
Okay, so you have the track.
But it was like, what's after that?
Yeah.
You know.
Interesting. So at this time, remember we talked about last time that feckin' book, The 4 Hour Workweek.
Yeah.
That's about halfway through my time in the investment bank. You got that book for me. I read it, couldn't put it down. I remember I was in my new apartment that I just bought that me and my wife could not afford at the time. We really, and it worked out. I mean, probably the best thing I've ever done in my life is buy that apartment for what it's set up in the future. Difficult year financially that year.
Yeah.
But I would say it's probably the best decision we've made.
Yeah, I would say I would agree, because a lot of people in their 20s, early 20s even, would be talking about houses and how, complaining and stuff. And a lot of their parents, who are from a different generation when it comes to land and property and the price and stuff, it's completely different. But to put them at ease, they say, don't worry about it, wait till you're in your 30s, and then then you start thinking about it, that you've loads of time. I think that's wrong. I think if you can get a house, you can buy a house when you're 18, buy it.
100%.
Why?
I know, and there's so many people out there, on business podcasts, especially in America, they're like, don't buy, don't tie up your money.
Yeah.
A different situation in Ireland.
Well, Ireland's different. The rental situation is different, and not to get into that because it's been done to death.
Yeah.
But
it's musical chairs.
We all know the rental market in Ireland is completely different. Ireland has a weird relationship with land, and it's unique enough, So go on. Yeah.
So that was I was 24 when we got that.
Yeah.
And that was like a big thing for us. We couldn't afford furniture and stuff at the very beginning.
You have it.
Yeah, we have it.
Have it.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, when I read that book, I was really I started to feel a little bit trapped, actually, because I bought the apartment and I'm like, am I going to be able to travel? Am I going to get to California? Am I going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, or is this it? Right? Wasn't happy in the job, even though, like I said, it was good for me and I'm grateful for it. But I was still in that kind of fixed income vibe. Not, I remember like just looking forward to Friday, hating Mondays, being there on a Sunday. This happened since I've got into sales. I've never said this to Katie. Excuse me. I've never said this to my wife. But I used to sit there on Sunday and I go, I'm not going in tomorrow.
Really?
I can't go back there. I can't go back and look at the faces of people who have been beaten in their own minds.
Yeah.
And
well, it's that old saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with are closest to you.
100%.
And whether you like it or not, you do spend a lot of time with people who you work with.
Do you know what it's like? If people want to go to YouTube right now and YouTube Bruce Springsteen live, I'm on fire. When they're like, they start thinking about all the stuff that they ain't never gonna have, and they get me thinking like that too. I swear to God, we used to sit around talking, whinging that we used to.
Is it legally okay to play that over this?
Hey little, always a strange. We'll have to review that song these days. I don't know if we get away with it. Hey little girl, is your daddy home? Anyway, but I digress. My point is, I wanted to get out there. I wanted to see the world. I was fantasizing about these mini retirements that we talked about from the book.
Yeah.
I remember I was in my wife's house, and my brother-in-law, he wasn't my brother-in-law then, had just got back from his world trip, right? Gone around the world for a year or something. And he had this beaten up book of South America on a shoestring. And I just took it. I didn't even ask him. I took it home and I thumbed through it, and it was really detailed, lots of things underlined, all that type of stuff, and it just set my imagination going. Right? It was so exciting to me. South America, so strange. That kind of feel of just getting out there. Wild West. That's
complete
kind of
opposite to what you were doing at the time.
Complete opposite, yeah. So I decided to leave and go do this, and my wife's very supportive. She said, we'll go do this, take a couple of years. We said we're going to take 2 years to go and see the world, see what happens, right? So we go off to South America. We have this amazing kind of almost 4 months going all over South America. Everywhere that you'd want to go, we went to, right?
Yeah.
Brazil, Argentina, loved Argentina. So we went to a ranch. I was riding horses, you know. We were riding horses out to waterfalls, and I'm just like, I've been released from the world that I was in the investment bank.
Yeah.
There was no more Sundays. Since I got on the plane that day, I've never had a Sunday like that.
Yeah. But that's a kind of a false situation in a way, that you couldn't have done that without doing a 9 to 5 and building up a bit of income.
Of course, I needed.
Do you know what I mean?
money,
Like,
yeah.
so that's the unfortunate thing,
Yeah.
and I don't think I would ever, if I wanted to do that. And some people feel like doing that sometimes. You know, going off and living in Buenos Aires or something.
Yeah.
You know, I would feel guilty every single day thinking this isn't going to last. I've got a month
Really?
left of this. I've got 2 months because I
Yeah.
have to go, because I know that there's no such thing as a free lunch.
It's not a fairy tale. You're
No.
not. Yeah.
So you have to put the systems and you put in place and the work to achieve that. You can't just live like a digital nomad like that.
Yeah.
You have to build up some sort of skill set, some sort of business
Yeah.
that is transferable internationally, that you could get paid. Again,
Yeah.
life arbitrage, and that's a big thing in the 4-hour work week.
Yeah.
Get paid in euros, whatever the online business. If it's selling t-shirts, if it's, you know, doing online fitness, being an online fitness guru, you know, to people, and then you can live on, what are they?
Pesos?
Yeah, you know, and get paid in euros. That's how you do it.
That's the dream.
And that's how you do it comfortably and guilt-free.
Yeah.
But what you were doing was probably what most people will do: put the head down, work somewhere that maybe they don't like, maybe they do,
Yeah.
and then leave, cut
Blow it out.
ties,
Yeah.
you know, and then
I think maybe I didn't have that guilt. I didn't have that fear when I was away, because when I was on that particular leg of the trip, because my plan was I was on my way to Canada, and
yeah,
I was going to move to Canada for I was going to Vancouver, and I just thought Canada was going to be the land of milk and honey.
yeah. Okay, that's a little bit different then.
Do you know? I thought,
Yeah,
and here's something that people who are thinking about leaving Ireland, and people who have already gone will know this as a real truth that I wish I knew before I left. In your mind, when you're thinking about your new life in Canada, America, Australia, New Zealand, wherever, you think all I've got to do is just get everything in order and then go, and then like that's where the movie ends. But it's not. It's not. Like it feels like, then you're, shit, I'm here now. And the first few months were rough in Canada. Yeah. Like lots of ups and downs.
So how long did you spend in South America?
About 4 months.
And then you went to where?
Canada. So we came back, flew back to Ireland for a week to get our stuff.
Yeah.
Really weird week. I was so detached from Ireland. I remember I probably didn't show you guys, my family, that much love at that time.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get attached again.
Yeah.
I was already gone.
Yeah.
As Bono says. I had to do one podcast without I was already gone. Like,
yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So I stayed in Katie's mother's house for that week, and we were just watching box sets. You barely saw me.
Yeah.
Actually, you made me paint my mother's cabin.
Oh, that was that week.
That was that week.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I came back for a week. But when I was leaving, and I told this to my wife, my now wife, my girlfriend then. When I only told her this years later, but when we drove to the airport and we got on the plane, we were taking off, and I was never coming back. That was my mindset. I'm going to build a life in Canada.
Yeah.
The boom hadn't come back in Ireland yet. It was stale. I was 25 or something.
Yeah.
It was stale in Ireland. I felt like we would rented out our apartment for a good return, all that type of stuff. I did have a great family here and everything like that, but I needed to prove that I could be successful. That's what it was.
And you felt that this country couldn't provide that.
Yeah, but it wasn't the country. It was me.
But in a way that you
know,
you knew the track that you're supposed to go on. You went down the track, and that it led you to a dead end.
Yeah.
I can understand then why you'd want to, and that's maybe why most people went to. And that was that in the recession then?
It was just at the tail end.
But like there was jobs there, like
there was jobs there, but
there's
I hadn't.
jobs there now, and people still probably feel like that. They're only getting so far.
But my job that I was in the investment bank wasn't building any skills really, and that was the problem. So there was nothing I was building on to go into other interviews. They were like, "What did you do for 2 years?" I'm like, I don't know. I actually had built a macro and a spreadsheet, so that was doing most of my work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
you were in the wrong job.
I was just in
That
the wrong
job
job.
is the right job for some people.
It
is
is.
not, because not everybody's the same. Those
Yeah.
people probably aren't listening to this stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
A few sharks out there, you know.
Mm.
So picture the scene.
Mm.
I'm taking off Aer Lingus flight.
You're playing.
Actually, no, it
pop.
was
U2 pop
U2 as coming like a
on repeat.
what was I listening to? Outside is America, something like that, right? You know, Bullet the Blue Sky.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm so energized.
Yeah.
I arrive in Canada. We almost have no money at this stage. We way overspent.
Yeah.
We overstayed everything in South America. We have. I don't know if because our money was the same in Katie's. I won't tell you exactly how much it is because she's a very private person. But it was not. If I told you in private how much it was, you would be like, Luke, that is a crazy thing to emigrate with. It was almost no money, right? So we arrived.
This isn't the 80s.
This isn't the 80s, right? So, and I went there. We got off the plane. My friend picked us up. We were staying on his blow up bed. Like, luckily, it's a bit crazy on the rent over there. Luckily, his landlord had something else that he hadn't rented out yet or advertised yet. So me and Katie just moved straight into a little basement apartment. It wasn't much. It was kind of dank. Like it wasn't very, but I was so excited we were there. We made it. Okay. Then Vancouver. They were in Vancouver at this stage. You know, it's in a cool neighborhood, all of that stuff, right? And then it really sets in where we're not on holiday anymore. We have to get a job now.
How long did that take?
1 day.
Okay.
I remember the next day when we had no furniture, and we'd have to spend probably
hungover.
Probably hungover. Yeah, because we went out the night. We went because it was our first day there.
Yeah.
You know, so probably hungover.
Yeah.
It's a great place to go out as well in Vancouver. We'll talk about that another time. It's a great place, wonderful place to live. Yeah. But we had to get a job straight away, and I didn't know where to even look for jobs. There's no jobs.ie there.
Okay.
It's there's no.
I'll write that down.
Yeah, business idea. So we got there. Katie, you know, Katie is a teacher in Ireland, my wife. So she wanted to do waitressing or something like that, something different because she was on a career break.
Good money,
yeah, great money. Oh my god, especially if you're a lady, you know, and a charmer like my wife. She can charm the dollars out of those guys. But so my first job, right? I go into Craigslist.
Yeah.
Do you know Craigslist? You ever hear of that?
Yeah.
Craigslist.
I think that's a mad name for a
Craigslist.
such a huge business.
Yeah, I actually thought it was like for like,
yeah,
you know,
hooking up.
Yeah, or something like that. I thought hookers, I was going to say, but so anyway, I saw a job there, and it's like a job. It's like a real cheesy thing. It's like make $1,000 a week selling cars, right? Yeah. And my dad had gone to Canada in the 80s.
Yeah.
And I've been idolizing him.
Yeah.
So Jesus, it's a whole other podcast we can get into.
Yeah.
Hero worship, right? Because he died when I was very young.
Yeah.
So he went to Canada, sold cars. Talk about your American dream, right? Got hooked up with an investor there. Had 3 car dealerships. Had a leasing company. Just an absolute, just going after it. Spinning plates. being the entrepreneur. The American dream.
Yeah.
You know, the big house that my mother hated cleaning because it was like so big, you know, all that type of stuff. So I had seen that before. Selling cars might be a way to do it. I knew nothing about cars, still don't.
Yeah.
Right? So
do you think this is all a coincidence, or that you're just following, you know, that route?
I think
it sounds very similar, you know. Or is that all you knew? That was one avenue you knew to reach success, and then why not do it?
Exactly. So exactly, I thought that maybe there was almost like there was unfinished business there. That I felt that we were ripped off. That's what I really felt when I went to Canada. I said, because we moved back. So just to not to get too deep into it, but my father died when I was 7 in Canada. We lived in Canada at the time. They'd been there for I think like 8 years or something, 9 years. So not that long, but they'd done a lot in that time. They were on their way to being multi-millionaires. Everything was set up.
Yeah.
They were starting to go to the Bahamas twice a year. This is my parents.
Yeah.
They had Cadillacs. My mother had a Firebird. Do you know?
Yeah.
And then we went from that, my dad dies. We move back to Ireland. I'm a little guy with like funny accent. I move back to Ireland when I'm 7.
Yeah.
And everything is taken from us.
Yeah.
The houses are gone. The cars are gone. The business is gone. Everything's gone.
Yeah.
Like that. Overnight.
Yeah.
So I felt like Canada owed me something. Isn't that weird? That's a weird thing.
It's not weird though, really.
You know?
Not really. You know, it seems quite obvious that you would try
the car.
to do it.
And so anyway,
so you might have been looking for that in Craigslist.
Maybe I might have been looking for it.
Yeah, whether you knew it or not.
Yeah. Because anyway, so I go there. It's in the middle of nowhere. The car dealership is miles out. Right, I go in the only suit that I had. Right, I go that
one you got in Thailand.
The one that was a silk cashmere blend. No, that's for the party.
Remember you gave that presentation? What?
I gave a presentation in college to wearing that. It's like a silver suit. You're like, why didn't you just get them to make one good one? I'm like, I don't know.
And what did the teacher say? The lecturer?
In the notes, he said that the suit was offensive. I mean, that's very sensitive. But
yeah, great presentation, but some people might find that suit offensive. I think is what
that's word for word. Yeah, that's good to know. Keep keeping up on that. But anyway, this was a more. I mean, I was downplaying this with this suit, but
okay, it wasn't like a Canadian flag suit.
No, but I was like, that's something I really leaned on. That's something that we can talk about as well about immigrants. The best way to get in with these people is to big up the country.
Okay,
but they love hearing that. I love hearing that. Imagine
immigrants over here, you know, get involved with, you know, Gaelic and stuff.
I love that. I love those, you know, African children in Katie's Gael school.
Yeah.
Learning Irish, like dancing Irish. So, that's great. Like, you know, so they, but my point is like, I come in there. It's the middle of nowhere. It's in kind of like a bad area of Vancouver. So it's kind of like an hour outside of Vancouver. Okay. Kind of like, Canada doesn't have ghettos like it in America, really.
Okay.
Well, kind of there are immigrant communities out there. A lot of people from Sri Lanka, a lot of people from, I guess, like India, kind of, you know, that have just arrived. So they're not really, you know, there's gangs and stuff out there.
Yeah.
Right. So I go out there. I go in. I'm the only salesperson who isn't of like South Asian descent, right? So I go in and I make a real strong pitch to your man, and I didn't know that in North America selling cars is like the lowest thing you can do status wise. I thought my dad was a champion. I just swear to God, I thought that was like the highest thing you could do. I didn't know until I was 25. I was over there and they're like, oh, you want to sell cars? Oh yeah, sure, no problem. I was like,
so people in school who are coming through the system in Canada, if they say, you know, they're not going to do much, it's like you probably end up selling cars. Yeah,
that's what it is. And it's like a lot of convicts, a lot of that type of stuff. So I really actually learned a lot about my father and how he got into that. He must have had that feeling like, shit, what am I doing? And then had to like build out, and he made a success out of it. Yeah. But at the beginning, it's a lot of hard men working there.
Yeah,
hard chores, like, and
you have to start there.
Yeah,
you know, there's a big difference between the average salesman and someone who owns, you know, a car dealership.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So anyway, a quick anecdote about that, because I know we're dragging this on a little bit, but this is kind of speaks to the narrative.
This is your story. Is what we're trying to tell.
So this speaks to the narrative of where I'm today. This is my first like full-time sales job. I've done sales jobs in the past. I sold mobile phones. And I was a teenager, worked for a cell phone shop.
And you had to leave because your mom was doing your head in singing the same song every day.
Yeah, I threw papers in his face.
What was the song? Ain't No Sunshine.
Ain't No Sunshine. Yeah, fuck. I forgot about that. You're a details man. I forgot. That I'm telling you. I'm trying to tell a narrative here. But but I forget that you know everything about the things. So you have those ones where it's like, actually, this is what happened. So okay, that's good.
I'll call you out on anything.
No, it's good. I like this. It's good. Okay, so my first day, I call Katie because she's worried because we almost have no money. I say, listen, I got this sales job selling cars. You know, I'm like Mel, my dad. I'm gonna be a success. This is gonna be easy. Never sold anything before. Went into like sales training that morning. That morning I started. And the guy didn't even check. I didn't have a Canadian license. So I told them that I can drive cars. I didn't know that I could, and I couldn't. But they gave me the keys to cars to go test drive things. I'm driving around Canada. Never drove before. I'm in $100,000 pickup truck.
And did you have a license?
I had an Irish license.
Okay.
But technically, because I wasn't on vacation, I couldn't drive there. I had to get it switched over, which I did eventually. But I couldn't drive legally. Never driven on that side of the road. But it was I didn't want to let.
A lot of them are automatics as well, which is tough.
Yeah, it was kind
wrong
of different.
side of the road. Well, depends what country you're in, but
yeah. So anyway, so I'm chancing my arm a little bit there, and then the guy draws this thing on the. This day changed my life. This whole day was a big day for me.
Yeah.
This guy drew a picture on a whiteboard in the dealership, and it was the picture of a funnel, sales funnel.
Yeah.
I'd never seen that. In 5
A
years,
lot of people won't know what that is.
Okay, yeah. So sales funnel it's like a picture where the very top of the funnel is leads. Then it goes like warm leads, qualified leads, first contact, contract sent, negotiation, money.
Yeah.
So it's a visual representation of how the sales process works and how to manage the different sales areas or the different sales stages throughout the process. Okay?
Yeah.
Once I saw that, I said, okay, as long as I keep the top of funnel full, I'll have as much money as I want. Yeah. That changed my life.
I used that what would you call it, idea, or I use that in a lot of different ways, like whether it's reaching out to, like I was talking the last one about the galleries. Yeah. You see me in the Green Gallery, probably the ideal one I wanted to get into, but 100 other ones I contacted first. That's a funnel. Yeah, 100%. Followed up. Yeah.
You may have not have called it that, but that's what it is.
Yeah. Or even in recruitment, when you don't just have one candidate and one job. You have a pool of candidates. For and then there's the stages of the interview. Maybe you contact 10, 5 go for interview.
It works really well then.
So it actually applies to, but you have to. A lot of the effort, and it might seem like wasted effort at the start, is the start of the funnel. That's the hardest bit, because it might seem like a ton of effort. Yeah. You have to do that if you want to get the win at the end. Exactly,
and that's what I learned that day.
Yeah.
So I went out and I sat down. They gave me a seat. I was sharing a desk with a guy, right? This guy was big, probably 6'4", like shaved head, like very kind of like muscular, almost like he'd been in prison or something. Okay. Right? So I sat down. I'm in my suit, and he's not really dressed very well. And
he has a job at this stage.
Oh yeah, he has a job. Okay. So I'm on the dealership floor, and I don't know what I'm doing. It's my first day.
So you're dressed like an investment banker.
Yeah, I'm dressed like an investment banker. And I look, who is this guy with the accent and everything? Yeah. They're doing a background check on me as we speak to see if I can legally work in Canada, right? Because I'm a Canadian citizen, but with the accent and all, they didn't know what was going on. So I'm sitting there. This actually was the only other guy who wasn't Asian. And we were sitting there, and he's introduced himself to me and everything like that, right? And he's like, "Oh, when did you get here?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got here yesterday." So I've just emigrated to Canada yesterday, and I'm starting this job. And he said, "Oh okay, yeah, this is how it goes." Okay, so he got these sheets of everyone who's ever bought like a Chevrolet in British Columbia. I don't know where he gets this information, but he gives us sheets and a phone, and he's like, "Okay, call them people and see if they want to buy cars."
How many?
Oh, it's a stack. It's thousands and thousands of numbers. Yeah. Right? And he just said, "Call them. Doesn't matter. Don't overthink it. Just call them." Right? And I started calling, and I'm calling like, "Do you want to buy a car?" They're like, "What? No, hang up," because I get those calls all the time.
Okay.
Right? So, and I'm like, "What? Where is this? Where the top of funnel? Is this where the leads are coming from?" Yeah. Right? I'm a bit worried. Right? And then the guy is really pushing the phones beside me, like pounding the phones. Beads of sweat are coming off his face, and he's booking meetings, right? But he is lying down the phone. Okay. He is telling people, he goes, "You know what, sir? Congratulations, you've won a trip to Las Vegas down here at the Chevy dealership, whatever, I forgot the name of it, down here. But you have to get here before midday if you want to claim your prize." "Yeah, sure, you can bring your wife." They come in. Okay. And He's like, oh no, you missed the deadline. I said 11. You have to be here by 11.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh, okay. And then he goes, well, while you're here, do you want to see the new Chevy? I see that you got this truck last time. You know, let's go for a test drive. And they'd buy cars from him.
Jeez. And that was the new guy? No,
that was the guy he'd been there a while.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, so he had been to prison. He was an ex-convict.
Okay.
So he was really, really hard guy.
Yeah.
And like he was. That was, you know, he came in and he had sold a car that day, so he was really pumped about it, right? Because you don't sell cars every day. So and these guys are working on 100% commission.
Are they? Yeah.
I was working on because it was like the law that first month they have to pay you. So I had like a small income. It was actually all right, actually. When I think about it, it was a good start for me. Actually, probably started us off quite well. So anyway, this guy's lying to people. He's pounding the phones. He's sweating. I'm like, how is this guy? Is this okay to do these types of things?
Yeah.
And then he's like, you know what? You got to hit the phones more. And I go, I'm only here for an hour, right?
Yeah.
He's like, how many calls you made? I'm like, 6. And then he's like, okay, you know, you got to really push these numbers. And he goes, you know how I do it? I'm like, no. And then he's like, you know, I just go outside, I hit the pipe, and then I'm riding the phones, and I'm like, hit the pipe. I thought he was like smoking a pipe, like like my granddad used to smoke a pipe.
Yeah.
He was smoking crack outside, and coming back in. And I was like, I'd never in Ireland. Well, I don't know about everywhere in Ireland, but like in Sallynoggin, like there was people did drugs, but no one's smoking crack and working.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So he's smoking crack, and I was like, okay, fair enough. So anyway, so I worked there for I think 2 weeks altogether, probably less than 2 weeks. And I didn't sell any cars, but this guy was selling cars, and he's getting into arguments with people about lying to them. They're coming back with cars they sold him, all that type of stuff. He's pumping sweat the whole time, smoking crack, right?
Yeah.
And then one day, because I'm kind of like the runt right now, I'm not selling anything. I'm kind of afraid to pick up the phone. It's a really gross environment that I'm in. And like I was getting transit there, which was like the bus system to get there, and they couldn't believe that I was getting that. It was because it was dangerous. They're like, no, we'll float you. We'll give you a car until you earn enough to pay us back. Don't get the bus.
Really? Yeah.
But I didn't want to get into debt or anything, so I just get the bus. Also, I can't be afraid of Canadians with the accent. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll be all right.
Yeah.
I'll just be like, fuck off. You know. So anyway, the story goes that I go to Tim Hortons, which is a popular coffee chain. People who have been there will all know all about that. To get the coffee for everybody. So I'm gone, and I'm really, I don't want to go back in. So I'm there. I'll probably take an hour to go because it's in a little shopping centre. I sat down, had my coffee, then went to get their coffee. And when I come back, there's everyone's out there, the offices and stuff. Everyone's on the floor. People are a little bit shook up. I'm like, what's going on? And someone had come in with a rifle to rob the place and fired a warning shot.
Really?
Yeah. And there was a hole in the wall, and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, are we going to call the police? You know, like when did the police get here? And then like, oh no, we don't want the bad publicity. So they didn't want police coming. They're just going to wave it off.
Yeah.
Obviously there's no cash there. Everyone buys everything on credit.
Yeah.
So just some crack guy. Could have been your man a couple of years down the road.
Yeah, that's what you're going to say. It was him.
No. But also they're like, oh, the rifle is only a 22, which is a small rifle.
Yeah.
But still, and for me, I'd never seen guns really before.
Yeah,
so I was like, I gotta get out of here. So I went outside, and I called Katie, and I said, listen, I gotta quit this job. Like, and then she was like, that's because Katie was struggling to find a suitable place to work. So I was like, Katie's like, that's the only income we have. We don't have any more money. Like, so could you not just stick it out? Like, because I'd been whinging about it, you know, for the last few days, and I told her, and she's like, all right, go on and get the bus. So I went out for coffee again and never came back. But because because the Canadians are so well behaved, they sent me the check for the month.
Really? Yeah.
I only worked a week and a half. They sent me the whole month.
Yeah.
And it was a godsend. We need that money. Just probably was the difference between us having to come home. For me to call you for money.
Yeah.
I thought about it. I remember going for a walk and thinking, I need some cash. But anyway, so after that, I kind of got I kind of got interested in I knew that sales was going to be the way forward, right? Once I saw that funnel, I said, that's the formula. I just need to get after it. So I worked in 2 other sales jobs before I found my way into tech. One was selling medical devices, which is like electric chairs, and there's a whole other story we could do about my boss who was an alcoholic who we got on really well. There's a whole story we might do another. I don't want to get into it now, but the adventures that I had in Canada in the first couple of months were unbelievable. There's just all these people with different addictions that I'm working with, and anyway, so how I got into I really want to get into technology because I saw a few people around. That was in Vancouver. It's very startup-y. A lot of venture capitalists. It's kind of like
the San Fran of
that's the feel, except it's very small. It's way smaller than San Francisco in the amount of companies that are there. But they're all small companies. Everyone wants to work for a tech company there. It's the thing to do, right?
Yeah.
So I had no background in tech, just the investment banking, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I had sent CVs out, nothing coming back, right? So I sat down at my desk. I wish I had this piece of paper, and I went to Google and I Googled every tech company in that whole area of British Columbia, every single one, and I'm going to go through. The funnel. I'm going to go through every one of these. I'm going to find an Irish person here. It's that works there. Yeah. And I'm going to reach out to them.
How did you find them?
On LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah.
And LinkedIn probably was still in its infancy.
It was probably a good bit ahead of Ireland at that stage.
Okay.
I remember when LinkedIn came out in Ireland, people were like, don't put yourself up on LinkedIn. Like the people, your manager will think you're looking for a job. Yeah. That kind of stuff. Yeah. And in Canada, it was the thing to do. Everything was LinkedIn. So I went through every single company looking for ones, and I put a little tick beside ones about people with Irish sounding names. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? Like, yeah. Well, maybe not. I was just trying to use what I had.
Yeah. I think if they were second or third generation Irish, that's probably even better.
Let me tell you. What I mean? Let me tell you what happened.
Yeah. I didn't know you did this, by the way.
Did you not?
No.
This is nice that we're learning a little bit more about each other.
Yeah.
So I sat down and I was going through this, and I was like, at this stage, I'm okay for money because I'm actually the medical devices one was a great money earner for me. Really good commission. Like depressing place to work, but like not a very nice environment. But really, like I remember, like if you sold one of these things, I got promoted after 2 weeks to reselling, which was say there were those motorized chairs for elderly people, disabled people. Yeah. So we'd sell them over the phone. So the leads would come in. We'd send out the salesperson on the ground to actually go to the house and measure it up and give them a quote. They'd buy it or they wouldn't buy it. But 5 days later, it would go into the resell bucket. Yeah. Where I would call and say, I'm looking at these quotes. Like, this guy overquoted you. Like, maybe we can work something out. Yeah. So I'm the good guy, always. It was amazing. So I used to get like $800 if I sold one. Yeah. And I'd sell one like... And most days I'd be selling one. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that was great. That really so I was, at that stage, I was financially set enough that I could take a breather, plan what I wanted to do. Yeah. And some people never get there, I think. Yeah. They're always kind of worried about the next check. So I had at this stage, me and Katie,
Katie's only ever going to get that through sales.
Yeah, maybe. That quick anyway.
Yeah.
Like my first checks there set me up. Since the first check I got, here's something interesting. That was 5 years ago at this stage. The first check I got from that job, I've never been living paycheck to paycheck since. Never.
Interesting.
From 25. That's the last time I've been living paycheck to paycheck. Yeah. That's a big deal. Yeah. Mentally, it's a big deal. Happiness wise, I think it's a huge thing. Yeah. Right? So anyway, so I've got this list. I'm making my way through it. I'm calling these people, calling these companies just to say, hey, any jobs going? Really bad pitch. I don't know. And I got to loads of people have nothing to do with Ireland that have Irishy sounding names there. Right? Okay, yeah. Like I remember one of my friends over there, his last name was O'Shaughnessy. He'd never been to Ireland. He actually had an Irish tattoo across his chest here that was incorrect. He used to drive Katie mad. I should have said his name now because I have a really good story about him. I shouldn't have said it. We might bleep it out. It's the guy who was knifing in. With the crack cocaine. Another crack story. Do you ever tell you about that?
No.
about the butter knife with the crack?
No.
I'll save that for another podcast.
Okay.
It was very funny. Anyway, so I called one of them. It was called Pay Pharma, right?
Yeah.
Pay Pharma. This is the big change.
Yeah.
Right. These guys, I know nothing about the sales game and technology at this stage at all. Right. But I call your one. Her name was, she was the HR manager there. Her name was Aisling Breen. I'm like, jackpot. Right. Asho, how's it going? You know, give her a call. And she's like, who's this? It's Luke Curry, moved to Canada, saw Pay Pharma in the news. They look like they're a big great fit there. Because it was payment software, I was trying to lean on, okay, I know about finance, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I could do something with that, right?
Yeah.
And she's like, well, we really only hire people for our sales, like account executive. You know, if you've got a lot of that, like IT experience. So I said, there's got to be some level that we can do. So there's the tech sales, the entry level, maybe not the entry level everywhere, but most of the time the entry level is what's called a BDR, which is a business development rep.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's kind of for people just either in college or leaving college in America.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit older than you would.
Yeah.
Be for that, right? Anyway, she's like, well, we've got a BDR role, but like you're obviously, you've got a master's degree, all this type of stuff. And I was like, I pretended I knew what a BDR was, and I said, no, listen, I'll do that. Yeah. Whatever. Right. So she's like, all right, you know, and then we're like, oh, and she's like, oh yeah, my parents are from Tipperary. Nailed it. Jeez, we talk so much about Tipperary. I don't know anything about Tipperary. And I talked so much about Tipperary, and I said, you know, she used to spend a lot of her childhood there and all that type of stuff. Okay. Really strong, right? So we had a great interview. I came in, met my manager and another guy that was on the team. Really went well. This is what we're actually we're gonna get. The next character in the story, his name is Big Dave. He's not that big. I used to call him Big Dave. He was the VP of sales there. He was the guy who actually gave me the thumbs up for the job. Okay. Changed my life. Yeah. And I want him to come onto this podcast and confirm this story, because you got some skepticism about how the validity of this story, right? So I go in, it's like third interview. Like I said, I've got a little bit of confidence because I'm doing really good at the other job that I'm in. I don't like doing what I'm doing though. It's not a fun place to work. There's no bean bags. There's no, beers in the fridge or anything like that. Actually, there was in that case because of the alcoholic guy who worked there. But I digress. He weren't supposed to be there.
It emptied quite quickly.
Also, I was hungover all the time, so I had to go out with this guy every night to keep him sweet, keep him sending me those leads. He used to send me leads because he liked me, because I'd go out drinking with him.
Really? He's lucky he wasn't crack. He was smoking.
Listen, line up the pipe. No, just joking. So anyway, so picture this. It's my third interview there. I go in. I'd actually messed up another interview at a tech company through another. So I did this again elsewhere. So I had a couple of these in the funnel, right? Okay. So I didn't get. I didn't get that one, but it's okay. So I go in here. It's the third interview for this Pay Pharma, and I go in, and it's Big Dave, and he's not interested. I know he's not interested by his face. He's Canadian. He's Canadian, and he's all about Canada. Great guy, very successful. He's done everything. He's probably. It's hard to know how old he is, but he's an old grizzled vet at this. Maybe that's. He wasn't even that old, but he'd done a lot of sales in his day, all over North America. Him and his wife were both in sales. They used to buy jet boats and stuff. I just loved his life, real success story. So I go in to meet Dave, and he's kind of like doing something else while he's asking me questions. He's not really paying attention. And then he goes, you know what, buddy? You know what? I can remember like it was yesterday. He goes, I'm a straight shooter. I'm just going to tell you what I really think. He said, I think that I'm going to waste money, time, effort training you, and then you're going to just one day go back to Ireland, and it will be a waste for us. Right? He called me out on it. That's actually what happened, but so Big Dave, if you're listening, sorry about that. But he'd gone by the time I was left. But anyway, my point is, I looked at him and I wanted to say, listen, Dave, I'm all in. Right? I want to say I left my home, my family to come here. I'm not going home without, being a success first.
Mm.
And he said, but instead I said, listen, Dave, I'm balls in. Right? I said, I'm balls in. And he looked up at me. He bunched his fist. He pounded the table, pointed at me, and said, right on. And then he stood up, and then he gave me a tour. And then I had the job.
And that was it?
Yeah. Right on.
And what did he think you meant by that?
I don't know. I thought he was going to, when he stood up, I thought he was going to throw me out. I thought he was going to go get Ashley. I was like, Ashley.
Get out and take your balls with you.
Yeah, take these balls somewhere else, buddy. Buddy boy. Sorry. So I'd like to get him on to confirm that story.
Yeah.
I'm balls in.
So that was a Freudian slip, really.
It's a Freudian, because I kind of
was. They
was
were on the line.
I was balls
Yeah.
in a little bit. I couldn't really go home at that stage. You can always go home, but it's that's, and then so basically I started working as the BDR, right? And I'm a little bit old for a BDR, but I'm the only one there. And they were giving me you have to book meetings. That's your job as a BDR. You're calling people.
It's for origination, first point of
top of funnel.
Yeah, top of funnel.
It's leads are coming in. You're qualifying. You're setting meetings.
One of the hardest things to do, probably.
Great. Oh man, I can't tell people enough to take a BDR job or an SDR job if you can. It's such a good training. It's like it's so raw sales. It's just the front line of sales. I love it so much. I loved being a BDR. I loved doing the work, coming in. I used to be at the desk before 7 a.m. That's not an exaggeration.
Yeah.
Because I was in Vancouver and I was calling leads from the East Coast.
Was it easier to cold call in a foreign country than in Dublin, do you think?
Way easier. No one knows me. It's a free role. Who gives a shit? But and I'm calling people in Saskatchewan. I'm like,
but nobody really knows you in Ireland either. Do you know what I mean? How many times have you had to cold call in a sales role somebody that you know, and it turns out you know them, but it's they might know you, or again, it's in your head.
It's in the head.
Yeah.
So I called a lot of people. In that first 6 months, I called thousands of people, right? And I was getting paid a commission on when they sold. So I'd set up a deal for the account executive. I'd send them a deal, right? I had a great relationship with the sales guys there. And when a deal closed, I got a little taste, right? So I was kind of involved there. So I had to send over good stuff. That was the incentive. But they also had an incentive of, I think it was $13 or something, a good amount of money. $13 per meeting, right?
Yeah.
And they thought that you'd get maybe say 60 meetings a month. That would be my target, right?
Yeah.
I was getting 200 meetings a month. I was smashing down the door. It was incredible. I booked 20 meetings in a day.
Yeah.
Like I was flying, like I was levitating out of the chair.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't tell you the energy I had on the phone.
Yeah.
When there was an incentive there. And I've never worked that hard in my life or since.
Yeah.
That was the hardest I've ever worked. And because I was trying to prove myself in the tech thing. 6 months in, I tried to get promoted to account executive in tech sales. That's the next level, which is the main level. Once you've made that jump from BDR to account executive, you can go anywhere in the world. Actually, just one more point about that crack smoking guy in the first job. One of the lessons that he taught me was, remember, if you can get good at this, you can do this anywhere. He goes, remember this, ain't nobody want to sell shit. And he was right in a way. Like it ain't nobody want to sell shit. So if you can get good at that, it's like a superpower.
Yeah.
So I basically went from that, and I wanted to go to the account executive, but I was doing so well at the BDR. My boss didn't really want to take that out straight away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That gets a little bit weird then. So I said, okay, I went for I said, let me interview for the role that's coming up anyway. I get some experience. And he's like, okay, fine. So I do the interview, and in the interview, I do a big presentation and stuff. And in the interview, he said, you know what, Luke, I just learned before this interview that another one of our account executives is leaving. So you'll have their job.
Okay.
I need two now. and I need somebody.
Yeah.
Timing.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, thanks very much.
Yeah.
So what should have taken 2 years, as people stay BDR for kind of a year and a half, 2 years usually. Okay. It took me 6 months, and I'd made loads. But
that
of money.
wasn't pure luck. You know, you
there
said there at
there.
the end, but you're because of the work you're putting in, because of the relationship that you had with that guy.
Yeah.
For saying that, you told him what he wanted to hear, whether you knew it or not, and for being unreasonable, I suppose, and demanding a promotion or asking for a promotion after 6 months. You're increasing your surface space for luck to fall onto. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So I continue that hard work ethic into the next job. I remember I couldn't believe how good it felt to wake up in the morning and run out the door. Couldn't wait to get to work. I loved it so much. I was stacking up money. Not even not a huge amount of money, but to me it was a lot of money, right? It was going to set me up. I got a big engagement ring for my wife. I proposed to her over there. Start planning a big wedding at home. That's what sales is. Set me free.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Real freedom. You were the best man at my wedding. It was a JFK style wedding.
Yeah.
Or as close. It was our dream wedding.
Yeah.
Not everyone gets to have that and not be struggling with debt. We didn't get any debt for that.
Yeah, but stuff like that doesn't get handed to you on a plate. You have to go after it.
Yeah.
And in sales, you can go after it, and it's your wins or your income is directly correlated to the amount of effort that you put in, and working smart as well. Yeah. Like I think that car sales company could have done better with their funnel. You know, the ringing up. Like that's very 1990.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you can use. I'm a big fan of using technology to accelerate.
And to your point there, like the Pay Pharma had the best funnel in the world. Yeah. I can't imagine a better leads that we had. Unbelievable leads. Yeah. A great marketing team, great business development team. Another great guy, Dave Abbey, who used to be doing partnership deals with banks and stuff. It was really good. He did a great job. But my point is, when I got to that stage, I knew that my life would never be the same again. Yeah. I was going to be in tech sales or something to do with tech sales forever. Or I feel like that's a real career going,
again, the no regrets thing, if you hadn't gone into your standard kind of cookie cutter finance role, you wouldn't have known that that's not for you, or maybe you wouldn't have known the limits of where that could have taken you. You got to see all around you, and then realize that that's not for you, whereas it could have always in the back of your head, oh, should I have become X, Y, or Z? You knew, you almost kind of ticked that box and was like, right, that's kind of done. Yeah. So that you're not always going to get it right first time. Clearly you didn't, and neither did I. Yeah. And there's still plenty to do. Yeah. So I in a way, you kind of have to sometimes choose it's a good thing to choose the wrong thing sometimes to learn from it.
And now I know that that's the alternative, so I have to make this work. This is the best. It's the best I can do with what I've got.
Well, there's probably other stuff that you might eventually, as things evolve.
But the connection between
the core elements of sales, and the value and all that stuff, they'll never go away. That is, and that's why those jobs, I don't think, will ever go away. The people element, of connecting X and Y and people to companies or whatever, the B2B or whatever it is. You're always going to need people for that, unless they invent some sort of robot that's able to do that. But you never trick a human. It's human to human.
And it's also, it's something that sales is something you can, once you get good at it is one thing, but just be in sales and have a good attitude, and you usually do okay. That's never going away. But
you don't have to be in a pure sales role either.
No,
you know what I mean.
But you got to be selling yourself anyway.
Exactly. To learn sales and apply it to anything in life with that kind of mentality, is crucial.
And so with that, we went to. So I did very well for the rest of the time in Canada. We got to a point where I was bringing home brochures for my wife to look at for apartments, because I had done what I wanted to do when I left Canada on the plane. I left for Canada on the plane. I wanted to be a success, and I had got there in my mind, where, like I said, we're not keeping the wolves from the door anymore. Now we're planning for the future because we've got that little cushion. Yeah. Right? And that income's coming in. I can do this anywhere, Joe. So I thought maybe we'd stay in Canada, and if we're staying, we might as well buy. But we were getting married and stuff like that, so we wanted to be close to family. So it was time to move on. I got everything that I could at that stage out of Canada. We had a great life, snowboarding, doing like water sports, all that type of stuff, seeing whales, all that type of stuff. So it was a great time, and I came back to Ireland with a immigrant mentality.
Yeah.
Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or I didn't care as much what anyone thought, really.
Yeah.
I was happy to be home. And with that mentality, with the sales confidence that I had, within a month, I had 3 job offers. One from a incredible startup here in Dublin. Really I met the CEO and everything. Incredible guys. They're doing fabulous things. 2, Oracle. Big money. Big money in Oracle you can make. That's big systems, right? So I had a job offer there. Then I had the job offer in HubSpot. I could have had as many job offers as you want. So my point there is that when you have a skill that's worth something to somebody, I'm going to provide value. You get the lion's share. I just demand this amount. I mean, it's so much. Life is easier when you do that.
Yeah. It's not an easy job to do, but once you've mastered it and experienced it, and probably there's no better place to experience it than as an immigrant in America or Canada.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then bring that back.
And I still have the kind of an immigrant-y feel because I've sold software, I think, in 10 or 11 countries.
Yeah. And
never in Ireland.
Really, yeah.
No. My territory's always been the Nordics, or now it's all over Europe and Africa and stuff. But it's just an interesting one. So that was kind of went full circle. I know we've been chatting for a good while here about the story.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people may relate to especially the beginning of that story. We're coming out of college, don't know what to do, and then if they don't know what to do, maybe they should blow all their money in South America, learn to be friends with crack smokers, and then just get after it. I mean, come on, guys, get out. Sharks, are you listening? Dust off those fins, dust off your pipes. Let's go. So that's I know I was in the hot seat today, but we kind of really went deep there.
That was supposed to be what? Was that 20 minutes?
It's supposed to be 20 minutes. We've been in for 2. I don't know, actually. I don't have the timer on this anymore. So what else do we want to have a chat about after we've learned all about Luke?
Well, what are we in? We're about an hour in, are we?
About hour 10.
Hour 10. What else had we got?
We were going to talk a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about. There's a few things we'll skip here. I've just got written down Connor Mack, jacked ? He just released a photo of him before the Cowboy Cerrone fight. He's looking good, but we don't really have to talk about his body any more than Mark's tight jeans. So we've got So one of the big things that we were going to do this year was a little bit of passive income. I was going to.
Before we go into that.
Oh yeah, okay.
Can I take a break to go to the toilet?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And break. Okay, we just took a little shark pee break there because we went over time like we thought. Like our first episode was almost 2 hours, and we're kind of pushing that again. Just absolutely talking shite here today. Okay, so you had something that you wanted to bring up there, a wark.
Was it your goal for the year?
Your task? Yeah. So. Yeah. We're saying that Amazon merch is a way of selling stuff on Amazon.com in the States, in America, in the States, in Ireland, in the UK, as well as Germany, I believe.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get cracking this week on this. I really want to hit the ground running. Is there anything that I should know about, like how to get started? What niches are is there something that I need to be kind of looking at?
This the way you're talking now is the reason why people fail at the first hurdle.
the words of a failure coming at you hot today.
No, because it's information overload. Where do you start? Break it down from the very top. It's a passive income stream, one of many. One that I just happen to fall upon, something true, probably my artwork and looking to sell t-shirts and stuff like that. So you upload an image, as I said before, and it gets projected onto whether it's a hoodie, a t-shirt, whatever,
Yeah.
and then somebody buys it online, but it doesn't exist until they actually purchase it. Then it gets
Love
created,
that.
and then it gets shipped out, all by another company that obviously they charge whatever it is. Say it's 15 quid, and you get, if you price at 25, you get a tenner. You know.
Yeah. So you get a little commish.
And again, that's all happening in the background. You've done the work, you've done the design, you've uploaded it. That's where your work stops.
Uncle Jeff takes a little taste, but you get a good cut as well.
Yeah, well, you can do it yourself through a
Yeah.
Shopify store. You can do it through Etsy
Yeah.
with a Printful as the t-shirt maker in the background, or as you can, as we said before, if you can't beat them, do it yourself and also join them.
Yeah, I
You know,
like it.
not,
Yeah.
not necessarily just leave it behind. Yeah, so this is, you don't have to be an artist to do this, but it does help to have, you can outsource the creative aspect of it, which is the design making.
Yeah.
So it's print on demand is essentially what all that is called.
Yeah.
Amazon have an arm of that called Merch by Amazon.
Yeah.
Process is you sign up, you get approved or you don't get approved. Sometimes people don't get approved.
Yeah.
It's arbitrary. I don't know why, but you just kind of keep trying anyway. You got approved
Yeah.
a year ago, did nothing with it. It's a tiered system. So when you get in first, they'll give you 25 slots, so 25 designs. You put your 25 designs up, prove that you can sell. If you start selling a few, they'll up the tier to 50. So it's a numbers game, and then you put up another 25 designs, and then you tier it into, and it goes up and up and up to in the thousands. So
Scale really matters at this stage, you think?
100%.
Okay.
It's scale, but it's optimizing the scale as well. You could just put up 1,000 crappy designs,
Yeah.
and you're probably gonna sell 1% of them, or you can put the extra effort in. The only cost here is your time. That's what's nice about it. You can put it on pause. You don't lose your customers. You don't lose anything, because
They do all the returns and all that type of stuff.
they do all the returns, but they also retain the buyer information. Like you have
You can't build a list.
you can't. There's no value on that side of it. The
pity.
value is
I know it's good. I know it's good for them, or it's good. I know why they're doing it. Like
yeah.
that.
Well, they're providing the platform.
Yeah.
And that's why they get to keep the customers.
Yeah.
But I heard before that somebody was speaking to somebody who was high up in Amazon and spoke about Merch by Amazon. They said, "What?" And
Really?
that's how big Amazon. They're like, Merch by Amazon, the print on demand.
These guys are doing the SharkPod listeners out there. Like Amazon are doing $30 billion a year just in data processing, just in their what's that? The Amazon Web Services. They're doing 30 billion. This
Really?
is small potatoes to them, but could be
Jeez.
big potatoes for us.
Yeah.
That's what we're hoping anyway out
Yeah.
there in Sharkland.
As Irish people, we want those potatoes.
You don't want to get too reliant on them.
No.
Learn
no,
your lesson, people.
No, that's it.
You know?
Learn from the past.
Learn from the past.
So, at the moment, I don't know what tier you're on.
I think I got like 300. I think.
Okay, so
I'm-
that's not bad.
I'm not
You've
sure.
obviously- You've sold a few. You've
Yeah.
put a few up, and you've sold.
Yeah,
a
yeah.
few. Look. So, it's a, as I said before, I suppose the value is in the digital asset. So that's what I call it. Many people will call it design.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, I love greystones. You've designed a nice heart, or you've taken a clip art or whatever, typed in a lot of designs that actually sell are just text as well. Like, so you don't have to be real. Like,
Just be catchy, kind of.
you can get on trends. So there's two
Yeah.
types. You can go for evergreen, which is stuff that will just sell year round or might sell year round,
Yeah.
or you can go on a trend, which could be the eclipse, a solar eclipse, or or Valentine's Day, or something. Something.
Yeah, but it's not going to be year round.
No, it's just going to be sporadic, but
Okay.
it might be a burst of sales. So the ideal situation is to actually track the trends as well, and to. But there's a lot of effort in that and stuff, or you could just do all evergreen, let it sit there, set it and forget it type of thing. And that's what's great about it.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah, it would be great if we could get to a point where it's. Once you start making money, once I start making money on it, then I'm gonna be putting more effort in. That's how it always works, right?
Yeah.
And I think let's take this. Let's sharkify this. Sharkify. I don't know if that's going to catch on. You didn't like it. You're like, yeah, go on. Okay, let's sharkify this. Let's put some little bit of accountability system in here. How about this? I'm going to commit to publishing the income from this stream.
Okay.
Okay, so every month they do a income report. that I'll put on shark.ie, or maybe people might have to sign up for a newsletter for that. Something. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah.
Because we'll think about that for the next time. But I'm going to make sure that people know how this is going. Hopefully, that will give me the extra little kick I need to get this up and running and done.
Yeah.
And then get some of that passive income, and then off to South America again. Let's do it again. This time I'll have a little bit of cash to throw around. But like I said, we're pushing 2 hours mark. So do you want to leave it there for today?
Yeah, we can kind of go into that. There's a lot to talk about when it comes to that.
Yeah, we can almost let's do a podcast just on that.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think so.
Like our segment on that, okay? Also, I want to have a look at that to see. I need to know a little bit more about it so I can have a more informed conversation.
Okay,
Okay, so we're going to do that. So, guys, again, thanks for listening to us. We went way over. We were trying to keep this an hour. It's 2 hours. There's just so much to talk about. We talked about my journey today. Hope that resonates with some people out there. There's going to be people going through the different stages of that. But I just want to do a tagline here. The last one was keep moving forward. This one might be it doesn't matter what happened in the past. Now and the future is all that matters.
Yeah.
You know? So let's leave it there for today. Thanks very much. We are going to be ending the broadcast now.